The White Rose Group openly protested Nazi genocide against Jews. They were formed in 1942 by university students in Munich. They used anti-Nazi leaflets and wall slogans to urge the German public to resist. However, the group was short-lived, and leaders Sophie and Hans Scholl were caught distributing leaflets, arrested, and eventually executed in 1943. This is one of many examples of nonviolent resistance orchestrated by average people. The White Rose Group was somewhat successful in that they spread the word of resistance. However, actually inspiring people to take action was very difficult, and the group only lasted for less. The Jewish Fighting Organization, or ZOB, along with other Jewish groups, led attacks against German tanks with Molotov cocktails, hand grenades, and a few small arms. Their efforts had little significant impact on the future deaths of Jews in death camps. However, they did believe they succeeded in avenging those who had already died and upholding Jewish honor.
The Zagota, also known as the Konrad Zagota Committee, was an underground organization in Poland from 1942 to 1945. The purpose was to aid the country's Jews and to find sanctuary for them. The group destroyed 1,935 railway engines, derailed 90 trains, and blew up 3 bridges to stop the importing of Jews to concentration camps. The group succeeded in hindering Nazi efforts by destroying resources vital to the Nazis and by giving a large number of Jews the means to escape persecution. The American public was not fully informed of the enormity of the persecutions of Jews in Europe until over a year after the final solution was implemented. At this time, the United States was already at war with Germany. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt formally denounced the Nazis for the extermination of the Jews. The American public shared similar reactions and organized protests in major cities such as New York City, Philadelphia, and Boston. President Roosevelt believed that winning the war would rescue the Jews. Many people believed that his approach was too passive to effect any real change. While these protests succeeded in creating international attention, they did nothing to deter the Nazis' plans to exterminate the Jews. For 3 weeks in 1943, Christians in Denmark voyaged on an authentic fishing boat in order to ferry Jews and 700 others from small Danish towns on the coast to Sweden where they would be safe. In total, over 7,200 Jews were saved from execution. While these may be small numbers in comparison, efforts such as these show that at least some small battles were won against the Nazis. In France, the Armée Juive, meaning the Jewish army, fought for the resistance of the Nazi regime. They smuggled money to France from Switzerland in order to help the Jews hide. They also smuggled over 500 Jews to neutral Spain and took part in uprisings against the Germans in Paris, Lyon, and Toulouse. The group was composed of members of various Zionist youth movements.
Between 1943 and 1945, the Jewish Agency for Palestine pressured the British government to send Palestinian parachutists behind German lines. During these years, 32 parachutists were dropped into German-occupied Europe and 5 entered by other means. 2 parachutists, Zavi Ben-Yaakov and Haviva Reich, helped organize an uprising in Slovakia in 1944. Both were captured and executed. 5 other volunteers operated in northern Italy. While this team of parachutists succeeded in infiltrating German lines, they were a small group and many of them were captured. Furthermore, few actually succeeded in organizing resistance like Ben-Yaakov and Reich. This is Albert Guerra, a Holocaust survivor who lived in German-occupied Paris during the war. He was forced to live in a Catholic boarding school while members of his family were in hiding or in concentration camps during the war. Albert told us the realities of the true atmosphere of fear the Nazis created and how dangerous it really was to resist. He spoke of fellow young boys he knew who resisted and then were sent to prison, and his utmost admiration for their courage. Albert's accounts reveal how difficult and dangerous it really was to work up the courage to resist the Nazis, and why so many attempts resulted in failure or had little effect.